PRB, like many in the arms business, has a secret life. It's owned by Astra, the huge British arms and fireworks company based in Ramsgate in Kent. The company is currently under investigation for contractual irregularities, fraud in other words. It also made part of the supergun that ended up in Iraq. This much is public knowledge. What is not known is PRB's links to Pol Pot. In 1981-82, the company arranged for Chartered Industries of Singapore to produce the German Armbrust weapon.
We asked PRB to comment. Not only did they deny all knowledge of this weapon, they denied having anything to do with weapons at all.
Il est notoire que la firme PRB, Poudrerie Réunie de Belgique, a des activités variées. Il y a d'ailleurs plusieurs départements au sein de PRB en matière de fabrication d'armes et de fabrication de munitions. Quand on regarde le rapport de la commission d'enquête de la Chambre des représentants de Belgique sur les livraisons d'armes et de munitions, on peut voir pratiquement à toutes les pages citer PRB, PRB, PRB. Manifestement, cette société est impliquée dans une série de contrats importants vers l'Asie du Sud-Est.
This most important contract led us to Singapore. Once the last bastion of the British Empire, Singapore is now a supermarket with banks, docks, and a widely promoted image as a tourist centre. Run by the autocrat Lee Kuan Yew, Singapore is both America's and China's most active ally in Southeast Asia. For the past 11 years at the United Nations, Singapore has been the stalking horse of the trinity of Pol Pot, Washington and Peking. Here at last year's UN vote on Cambodia, the Singapore representative leads delegates who voted for the Khmer Rouge-dominated coalition to meet Pol Pot's man at the United Nations, himself complicit in mass murder. Prime Minister Lee has said the Khmer Rouge must be part of a settlement. Journalists, he said, have made them into demons.
The image that is certainly not promoted here is that of Singapore, arms capital of Asia. Occupying an entire city block, all along here is the heavily guarded compound of Chartered Industries. It's here that Western arms are made under license and shipped straight to the Cambodian guerrillas.
We asked Chartered Industries for an interview, but like everyone in this business, they suffer from acute shyness. This is hardly surprising, as Chartered Industries is owned by the Singapore government. This means that Singapore is a prime mover in the flow of arms that end up with the Khmer Rouge. And it means that the Bush administration can continue its secret aid through Singapore, aid that breaks a law passed by Congress only last year. With Washington's backing, Singapore supplies the Cambodian guerrillas not only with German weapons, but also with this Swedish anti-tank weapon. We filmed these weapons soon after they'd been captured from Pol Pot's army. From Singapore, they are shipped here to the port of Sattahip in Thailand. Thailand is critical to peace in Cambodia. Prime Minister Chatterjee has made peace moves towards Phnom Penh and indicated he wants the Khmer Rouge out of their bases in Thailand. This has so alarmed the Bush administration that Washington has threatened to cut off trade privileges to Thailand. Chrisak Chunavan is a senior government advisor. I asked him why Thailand still allowed arms to reach the Khmer Rouge.
To close the door completely on shipment of arms or whatever that you say is flowing through Thailand, it's also a very difficult situation without a settlement.
Those arms are coming from a variety of sources, aren't they?
Yes.
Not only from China, they're coming through Singapore, indirectly from Western governments.
Yes, I believe so, yes.
Would you like those Western governments that are indirectly helping the supply of arms to stop that?
Yes, yes. I mean, I can go on record of asking for all Western powers and China to stop, arming the fighting forces.
And this is where the weapons arrive, a Khmer Rouge munitions warehouse in Thailand. filmed for the first time from inside the compound. But who owns this place? We had land registry records searched and found the identity of the owner classified. However, our sources tell us that the land is owned by the United Nations Border Relief Operation and leased to the United States government. This is ironic, a humanitarian agency renting its property to a foreign government which allows the Khmer Rouge to use it as a military base. Near here is Zone 87, where Pol Pot lives and plans his reconquest of Cambodia. This rare map was originally drawn by American researcher Roger Normand.
Zone 87 is an enclave inside Thailand's Trat province in which several times a year the high leadership of the Khmer Rouge holds training sessions for high-level military cadre. The Khmer Rouge place a very high premium on indoctrinating their troops. There are 13-day sessions which are led by Pol Pot and some other top Khmer Rouge leadership, which includes Son Sen, who is currently the Minister of Defense for the Khmer Rouge, Khieu Samphan, who is the Vice President, and also Tham Mok and Yang Sari. It's the exact same leadership that controlled from 75 to 78 that is now controlling these training sessions, and more than that, from this base, Pol Pot is really directing the political and military strategy of the KR.
Pol Pot and his leadership are clearly important to the survival of the Khmer Rouge. Why don't you boot them out of Thailand?
There's a few refugee camps that are in Thailand that are controlled by the Khmer Rouge. We are also afraid that if we do anything drastic to these civilians under their control, they will be pushed and dragged inside Cambodia altogether, and they will suffer a lot more.
There was one incident that the UNBRO, the United Nations organizations who is running the camp there, that they wanted to move some of the refugees to another camp, but the Khmer Rouge didn't allow them. They prevented with their weapons that the families who wanted to go to a civilian camp, they couldn't go because they had to go to a military camp.
In these camps, the people are used by the guerrilla groups both as hostages and a human shield. The camps are overseen by a clandestine Thai Army unit called Task Force 838, which is funded and armed largely by the United States. Nearby is another arms supply warehouse.
At this warehouse, sources have told me who are very acquainted with the warehouse that an American comes into the warehouse every few weeks and asks, is there anything that is needed? And that includes military equipment. Requests are then put in and the military equipment arrives. I doubt that it comes directly from the United States. It's much more likely that that would then come from Singapore. But I find it highly unlikely that Singapore is by itself paying for the arms that would end up to the KPNLF, and it's more likely that it comes from a deeper pocket like the United States.
If our assistance, our overt and our covert assistance, is successful, it will have the direct result of returning the Khmer Rouge to power. That's the end result of any kind of military successes of the people we're supporting. It's the only time I can think of in history where we would desperately not want the military success of the people whom we are supporting. And I think we're playing a very, very dangerous game with our policy, and the United States policy is just simply an obscenity.
Then why, with the Khmer Rouge within striking distance of Phnom Penh, is this policy, which you describe as an obscenity, still being pursued here in Washington?
Well, I think it's because there's a small group of people at the top in the State Department and the National Security Council who are still fighting the Vietnam War.
This is the State Department in Washington. Last July, Secretary of State James Baker said that America had changed its policy towards Cambodia, but he gave few details. I went to try and find out exactly what America's policy was. Sorry? No, I haven't been pre-cleared. No? Thank you.
Yes, what we need to ask you to do is not to film in here until we get a rating on it. First of all, we don't permit any filming inside the State Department.
Is that a
It's-
rule?
it's- yes.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
Is it a
standard.
written rule or?
Yes, it is.
No film.
Is the camera on? Yep.
Yeah, it's a... I'd like to see Mary Carlin Yates, who's the head of the Public Affairs Department, please. Hello. Yes.
I'm Joan Cutaway, Mary Yates' secretary.
Good, yes. I've been trying to contact an official of the press department, the State Department, for more than a year to get a statement of American policy on Cambodia.
Okay.
And that's why I've had to come here today to deliver this letter. We believe there are urgent questions that should be answered. That's the letter.
I'll give this to her and have her get back with you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
For more than a year now, we've been asking the State Department to speak about Cambodia, simply to state American policy. Each time we've been refused or fobbed off. I've never known such reticence in Washington on any issue. We've now learned that